Well, hey guys, what's up? It's Mike from Cruise Vet Adventures with another cruise vlog coming at you. And today's topic is basically my cruise review on the Carnival Vista that I sailed on from April 1st to the 8th out of Galveston. Here we go. And we'll start with Embarkation. And so for Embarkation Day, I had a boarding time of 12 to 12:30, and so I got there about 10 minutes before 12, and I didn't want to go try to get in line first. I didn't want to, I figured they might turn me away, so I hung out a little bit, took some pictures, dropped my luggage off with the porters, and then right at 12, I headed over to get in line. And so the first thing I noticed when I went to get in line was that they basically had it separated. So if you were early for your boarding, or if you were late, so in other words, if you came before your boarding time or you came after, they had a separate line over there, and so all those people were pushed off to the right. And if you were there for your prescribed boarding time, or if you were doing faster to the fun, if you needed special assistance getting on board, or if you were platinum or diamond, you went to the left. So once I got in the building, I did notice that all the people that had showed up early or late, that line inside the building was way longer than people that showed up at their boarding time. And so basically, when I came in, I went pretty much straight to security. Well, the first person checks your documents, and then they send you on to security, and that process was like just a minute. It was real quick. They just looked at my documents. She sent me on to security. Once I got to security, it was a little bit more of a thorough process, I would say, compared to normal. In the past, security it kind of moved pretty quick. You just kind of threw your bags through the scanner, and nobody was really scrutinizing. But I noticed that this time around is a little bit more, scrutiny going on, and I wouldn't say, and the security folks, I don't want to say that they were being like overbearing or they were being rude or anything like that. They were highly professional. They were very courteous, but at the same time, they made sure they were asking you, hey, make sure you empty out your pockets, take off your jewelry, put your bag in, the scanner a certain way. And then I noticed the person that was actually watching the monitor for the x-ray was like, they were legit, looking at what was inside. I mean, they weren't just trying to rush everybody through. It kind of slowed down the process. And so that took a little bit of time there. But then once you got through that part, you got through the x-ray scanners and everything, you collected your stuff back up, and you headed towards the escalators to take you up to guest services. They had a drug dog, which I'm assuming it was a drug dog. I don't know, it could have been explosives, but I'm guessing it's more of a drug dog situation. And so they made sure they had everybody kind of file through single file, and the dog went by, kind of sniffed everybody. So that's the first time I've seen that at Galveston, and I've mainly sailed out of Galveston. I mean, I'm sure maybe some others can comment on that in the comments, but so yeah. But I mean, it wasn't any big deal. It didn't really slow anything down. And so then after that, I went up the escalators to guest services, and that line was a little bit. That's probably where I did the majority of my waiting, was up waiting to check into guest services. But it seemed to move. They had a lot of people working, and so it kind of moved pretty good. And then after getting through guest services, I was cleared to get on the boat. And so by the time I set foot on the boat, it was 12:30. So exactly 30 minutes from start to finish embarkation to getting on the ship. And I got nothing. I don't really have anything negative to say about it. I thought it was a positive experience. And so the next category we're going to talk about is the cabin. So I had a ocean view cabin on the first floor, on the first deck, and it was pretty much almost all the way forward on the ship. And I have to say I thought it was a really good cabin. It was very spacious. I mean, it's if I was traveling in a family of four, would it be spacious? Maybe not. But since I was by myself, uh, plenty of room. I mean, there was a nice big couch seating area. The bed was plenty big, and then having that window, to get the sunlight in and be able to look at some stuff. I really enjoyed that. Um, the bathroom was kind of standard size. Didn't have any complaints. I mean, like I said, I think I was pleasantly surprised at the size of it. So that's a positive. The only negative, when I first got to the room, I opened up the bathroom and I know it was a very strong mildew smell. I mean, I'm guessing it was probably the shower curtain is what it was coming from, but it was really strong. And my room attendant came by, like it was pretty much right at that same moment. Knocked on the door and introduced himself, and I'm gonna give a shout out to my room steward. He told me to call him Pong Pong. So Pong Pong, if you're watching, hey man, you did an awesome job. Uh, and he got right on the mildew situation. I told him about it, and I left to go eat lunch, whatever. And when I came back that evening, he told me he had replaced the shower curtain, put a brand new one, and plus it really smelled way better. So, and then I didn't notice that smell for the rest of the cruise. So, even though it was kind of a negative, it resolved itself. They got right on it, and so I think maybe in the end it was a positive. So let's move on to food. And I'm gonna start with specialty dining. And so the first night I booked the Fahrenheit 555 Steakhouse, and I had the spice rub ribeye, and man, it was. I mean, that's definitely the best steak I've had on a Carnival ship ever, and it could be the best I've had on any cruise. I don't know. It's close. There's got some competition, but I definitely say that's the best steak I had. And I went in and I guess my only regret was I kind of ate too much at lunch, and so by the time I finished my steak, I wasn't able to eat my dessert, and so. And I know some people will say, well, you could get your dessert to go, and probably maybe that's what I should have, but I was so full after the dinner, I couldn't even think about eating anything else. So really awesome experience at Fahrenheit 555. I highly recommend it if you happen to be on a Carnival ship with one of those. Definitely try it out. The other specialty dining I did was bonsai sushi, and that was my first time ever doing bonsai sushi, and it definitely, for the price, I felt like it was a good value. The food was awesome. The presentation was awesome. Uh, so definitely no complaints there. I think I had the bento box, chef's bento box, and then there was I can't remember exactly the name, but there's some sort of spicy roll. I'll have to go look at it again, but hey, if you like sushi and you have the opportunity to eat at Bonsai Sushi, definitely check it out. Uh, Now, one thing I would point out is there seems to have been a change with the Mongolian walk. I don't know if we have any Mongolian walk fans out there, but and I don't know if it's fleet wide or if it was just on the Vista, so I can't really can't really say that, but on the Vista, they changed the experience, and so now when you go into the Mongolian Wok, which is located at Gigi's Asian Kitchen during lunchtime, it's you sit down. I mean, it's the process is still the same, but when they give you it's usually you sit down and they give you a little piece of paper and you mark the kind of noodles you want, you mark the kind of meat you want, and then you mark all the different vegetables you want, and then they do a true Mongolian style barbecue, throw it all together for you, and serve it up. Well, now what they're doing is you only are choosing between a couple things, I guess. And what it said on the paper was broth or stir fry. And, it wasn't terrible. I'm not gonna say the food wasn't terrible. It was good, but it was a disappointing experience for me because I like being able to pick, the noodles and the different vegetables. Because it kind of, you're customizing your own meal, So it was I was disappointed on that, and so I'm putting that down as a negative. But I mean, it wasn't. I won't say that the food was bad. It wasn't bad. It was just the experience. Just was kind of disappointing to me. And so moving on, uh, I finally got to try the blue iguana. I've been on all these other Carnival cruises, and I always see the blue iguana, and I always, you know, set out to eat there during the cruise, and it seems like I just always forget. Well, this time around, I did not forget, and so I ate at the blue iguana, and usually I had it at breakfast time. And I tried the breakfast burritos because everybody was telling me, hey, man, you need to get the breakfast burritos. So that's what I did. Tried it that first time, and man, it was awesome. Check it out. So that's my. Moving on to the main dining room, and mostly, well, first let me talk about sea day brunch. I did sea day brunch twice. The first experience was not really that good. I think I ordered like the 2 egg breakfast, I think it was. And, the eggs were good. And I also ordered, I think the hash browns that was there were really tiny. It was kind of like some just flattened tater tots, and they were highly deep fried. And there just wasn't any like potato flavor at all. It was just like biting into some breaded deep fried stuff. And so yeah, that I kind of left out of there almost hungry. It was disappointing. So, but I went back for sea day brunch. Again towards the end of the cruise, and I ordered the Voyage burger, and I have to say that is the best hamburger I've had on any cruise ship, hands down. So if you eat the sea day brunch and you want a good burger, get the Voyage burger. Times, you won't regret it. I did show up on the second lobster night, and so I had prime rib, 2 lobster tails, and that was pretty awesome. So, main dining room. It's probably a better experience than I've had. I've been on the Vista. This was my 4th cruise on the Vista. And I think out of all 4 of those, I think this was my best main dining room experience on the Vista. So, all in all, I can't really complain too much about the food other than the letdown on the Mongolian wok situation, as we already talked about. So let's move on to ports. And so the first port we hit was Montego Bay, Jamaica. I had an excursion that I booked through Carnival. It was at the Blue Waters Resort. It was an all-inclusive, so you got your drinks, you got your food, and whatnot, and had an awesome time. It was a 45-minute bus ride out there, and but now when we got there, like they call it a resort, but it's not like, they don't have one of these big high-rise hotels, these 5-star hotels situation. It's basically, they just have an open beach area. They have a bar. They have an eating, like a dining area. And then it's all like, just open beach with a bunch of beach loungers. They did offer, for a little bit extra, you could rent a cabana. I forget. I think the guy said it was $80 for a cabana. And then there you could also rent a umbrella, and the umbrella, I do believe, well, it was either $10 or $20. I was kind of walking by there when he said it. So, but I didn't do any of that. I just stayed with what was included, and so I had a lounge chair that was right next to the water, which was awesome. The drink service was pretty steady, so no complaints there. The food. They had a buffet style dining room set up. And when we got off the bus, the guy told us, hey, you know, we're going to make an announcement, so pay attention for that. We'll let you know when we start serving. So, well, I missed the announcement. I probably because I mean I was in the water a lot, so it's probably my fault that I missed it. But so I swung by there as we were about to leave, and the lady said, "Yeah, you already missed it." And then, but I told her I didn't. You know, she asked me, did you get anything to eat?" And I was like, "No." So, she, out of the kindness of her heart, she sent one of her workers over, and they filled up a to-go box with just jerk chicken, and she didn't have to do that. She could have simply just turned me away. I mean, by all rights. So that was awesome of her, and I thanked her, left them a good tip, and got on the bus. And so luckily I had a nice box full of jerk chicken to eat on the bus. So that was awesome. Uh, Next port was Grand Cayman, and I have to say that Grand Cayman, in my opinion now, is just not a good port to pull into. I mean, I think from now on, I'm just staying on the ship. I'm out on Grand Cayman, and it's nothing against the island, the people, or anything. It's a beautiful island. The water around the island is beautiful, which is kind of makes it frustrating. I think where my frustration is more towards the excursions. And so I did book an excursion for Grand Cayman. It was a snorkeling excursion. Supposed to go to like a reef and a shipwreck, and it wasn't going to last very long. It was only like maybe an hour and a half excursion, so I didn't pay that much for it. But the problem is that for some reason and I don't know if it's the cruise lines making this decision. Is it the people that run the port doing this, making the decision? I don't know. I just know that it's very frustrating because all the excursions, all the people going on the excursion, they want to cram into these two tents in the smack dab in the middle of the area there in the port, And so what you have, because there's several different excursions, there's a whole bunch of them, and so they're telling everybody, yeah, go go under the tent. They have different, and so like you'll have a pole with like 6 excursions each, and all these poles are out like this, and you got to figure you got 3 or 4 cruise ships in the port, so that's hundreds, if not thousands, of people trying to compress themselves into these two tents. And this is the exact same thing that happened on my previous visit to Grand Cayman, and I'm not sure why they do it that way. And so I followed the directions, and I'm in line, and it's chaos. I mean, there's people everywhere. Nobody knows what line they're in. You got people cutting through. The lines kind of merge with each other. People stepping on each other, pushing each other. There's a lot of noise. You can't hear anything. Now this is my perspective. Maybe somebody else has a different perspective, but I'm just sharing you my experience. I'm not saying that everybody's had this experience, but it's twice for me. This has happened exactly this way, and so this time, apparently, they have the people that's going to escort you over to the whatever excursion you're going to. They'll come up to the head of the line, make an announcement, and then you'll follow them out. And okay, great. But the problem is it's so noisy and it's so congested that when the person comes to take you to your excursion, you can't, you're not going to hear them because they're not using a bullhorn. They're not using any kind of PA system. They don't have like a big flag or anything. Excuse me. And so it's very confusing. And so I missed my excursion because I was there and I kept looking at my watch and I knew I was supposed to leave at a certain time, and I'm not seeing any movement or anything. I didn't hear anybody say anything. And so finally I just got out of line and I walked all the way around to the front, and I asked one of the people there that appeared to be in charge, hey, I was supposed to go on this excursion and da 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 da. And come to find out, they had already left. So I missed the excursion, which really irritated me. And so because of that, I decided, well, I'm just going to go back to the ship. And all right. So the next port was Cozumel, of course. And typical Cozumel experience. I've been there a million times. I'm sure a lot of cruisers that cruise out of Galveston or in the Gulf area in general have been to Cozumel. So nothing, no surprises there. And I just decided, hey, I'm gonna just make it a chill day. Go down, have some tacos, do some shopping, maybe grab a couple drinks, and then head back to the ship, which is what I did. Tried out tried out Pancho's Backyard, and which is a little Mexican restaurant there towards the end. When you get off the ship, just head off to the left there and follow it all the way down, and you can't miss it. There's some like donkey statues out front. Went in, had some lobster tacos, and I have to say they were pretty good, pretty tasty. Something different. I've never had lobster tacos before, so that was awesome. And then after that, I just kind of walked around, bought a little, couple little knickknacks, magnets, that kind of thing, T-shirts. And then I stopped over at the pharmacy. And the reason I stopped there, and here's a good little cruise tip, make sure you don't forget your contact lens case if you wear contacts, because I did. And man, I had to get creative. Here's another tip for you. If you do forget your contact lens case and you have a GoPro, you can use the GoPro lens caps to put your contact lens in. So just a little word of advice: if you find yourself in that situation, use the GoPro lens caps. That's what I came up. I had to kind of MacGyver it a little bit. But yeah, Cozumel, beautiful day. Didn't rain that day. Had some good tacos. Did some shopping. Topped it off by stopping at Fat Tuesdays for a quick margarita. And back to the ship. And so all in all, without you take out the Grand Cayman experience, pretty good ports. Had a lot of fun. So there is that. Entertainment wise. Okay, last but not least, Debarkation, and I have to say this time, I got up real early, went and hit up the continental breakfast as soon as it opened. Came back to my room, grabbed up my luggage, and then I went straight to Ocean Plaza, and nobody was there at that time, and I just grabbed a seat and I made myself comfortable, and waited for my muster station to be called, because that's pretty much how they were doing it. They were debarking first, obviously, the high priority people, the diamond people, the platinum people, the suites, they got off first. And then they started going by muster station. And so I was listening, and as soon as they called my muster station, I headed to the elevators, because I was on the fifth deck. And I have to say, for whatever reason, this time it ran smooth. There wasn't any chaos, no pushing, shoving, yelling. Able to get on an elevator pretty quickly. I was surprised. And then when I got down to the third deck where the gangway was, I got out of the elevator, got in line, and I mean, they were moving, right on. So, hey, I have to say that was the best debarkation that I've had for Carnival. So I hope they keep that up. And that's it. That's the play-by-play of my cruise on the Carnival Vista. And I have to say, I had a really good time. As always, if you got questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comments section. I always try to answer every single question I get in a timely manner. I may not always have the right answer, but I'll do my best to answer. And if I can't, I'll try to throw you in the right direction. But that is it. And if you made it this far, I'd like to thank you once again and invite you to like, subscribe, share, comment if you like this video. If you like any of my videos, let me know. And that is it. And with that, I will wrap this up, and I will see you on the next video.